Hello friends, we are seeing great games of Bobby Fischer. Fischer aged 15 playing against Rossetto of Argentina. Rossetto is playing black and Fischer is playing white. This game exemplifies most dramatically the German expression zigzag. After move 19 knight d5, Rossetto got confused and fails to find the most accurate reply. Let us see what happens in that game. e4, c5 indicates that it is a Sicilian defense, and this game is played at the same tournament as of the previous game, that is Mar del Plata, coastal city of Argentina, in 1959. Knight f3, e6, d4, c into d4, knight into d4, a6, c4, queen c7. But stronger is f6, knight c3, bishop b4 with equal chances. Let us go back and see. After queen c7, knight c3, knight f6, bishop d3, that is misplacing the bishop. Right moves are a3, knight c6, bishop e3, etc. And if knight e5, bishop e2, knight into c4, bishop into knight, queen into bishop, and rook c1 wins. But that is not played. Bishop d3 is played. Knight c6, bishop e3, knight into knight is played. Instead of simplifying, aggressive knight e5, rook c1, not 0-0, knight g4, or instead of rook c1, bishop e2, knight into c4, bishop into c4, queen into c4, rook c1, queen b4, 0-0, d6, knight b3, knight into pawn, a3, knight into knight, etc. So let us go back to the original position. After bishop e3, knight into d4 is played. Bishop into knight, bishop c5, bishop c2, d6, castles, bishop d7. This gives a very small edge for white. Bishop into d4, queen into d4, rook d8, rook f d1, black castles, rook a c1, or on queen into d6, queen into d6, rook into d6, bishop into a4, rook into d8, rook into d8, bishop into a4, knight e4, knight into e4, knight into e4 is equal. Let us go back. Rook a c1 is played. rook a1, queen a5, queen b6, queen into b6, knight into b6, bishop c6, f3, knight d7. Black relied on this move to get him out of trouble. Now if knight into knight, knight a4, knight e5, bishop b3, b5 holds the balance, or knight into knight, rook into knight, rook d2, rook f d8, rook c d1, king bishop 1 is dead equal. Let us go back and see. But Fischer played a knight d5. This is what mentioned by Fischer in the prefix of this game. This knight d5 move completely confused Rossetto, and he fails to find the correct reply of knight e5. Also tenable is e into d5, e into d5, knight e5, d into c6, b into c6, b3, c5, bishop e4, rook f e8. Let us go back and see other moves. Or after e5, knight e7 check, king h8, knight into bishop, pawn into knight, bishop a4, g5, followed by king g2, f6. Let us go back and see what happens. After knight d5, bishop into d5 is played, e into d5, e5 is played. Safer is knight e5. Safer is knight e5, d into e5, d into e6, pawn into e6, etc. After bishop into knight, e into d5, e5 is played. Before playing for a breakthrough on c5, a5, a3, a into b4, a into b4, rook a8, bishop f5 holds the advantage. After b4, g6 is. After b4, g6 is played. After g6, bishop a4 is played. b6, instead of bishop b3 followed by c5 holds the advantage, but that is not played. b6 is played. Rook d3, f5 is played. Rook a3. The threat is simply bishop into knight, then rook into, that will drop the protection of this square. But black played knight b8. c5, b into c5, b into c5, d into c5, king g7, rook b3, rook f7 is a good move. If rook into pawn, picks up the knight. Therefore, knight d7 is played. Rook c7, knight f8 is played. So white develops his rooks. Rook into rook, pawn into rook is played. Rook c8, bishop b3. This completely immobilize black. a4, h6, h3, g5, g4, f into g4, h into g4, zigzag. That is no moves to play. Black has run out of satisfactory pawn moves. On king f6, rook b8 wins a piece. Or knight g6, bishop e6 wins. Or any rook moves, for example, rook e8, c8 with a discovered check. So black resigns. Thanks for watching. If you like this game, please share, subscribe and like, so that you can see many more beautiful games like this of Bobby Fischer the Great. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time.